Okay, welcome to the List and Sell Tour, which of course is brought to you by Sales Trainer, the Sales Trainer Live version for 2013. And one of the things that's never really changed about Sales Trainer is we're always about listing and selling. And of course, when you look here on the logo for the list and sell, you'll notice that the list word is much larger than that of sell. One of the frustrations that I had with Sales Trainer was that whilst people would come along to the seminar, see what we had, looked at the business of listing and selling real estate from a different perspective, but the installation was a bit of a problem. So what you're about to see in rapid fire fashion is a whole lot of the features that you're going to see prevailing this year. And I must say, even from our first presentation in Perth of this year, and luckily we're going to be joined for a short stint by Vasco Horta, who was at our Perth presentation. And if you move through to our most recent presentation in Sydney, you'll see a variance. But the one common theme that seems to be top of the list for everyone is, of course, prospecting. And with prospecting, we talk about the idea of attracting or locating sellers. But by and large, I believe that the art of prospecting has changed not just slightly, but radically. Now it's so very much about marketing. Marketing, of course, a component of that is advertising, how well you promote, how well you lift your profile, and how well you actually cause people to be attracted to you and make you a consideration. Now, we say this actually works in three phases. The first is that you need to get a foothold. And I see that loads of not just real estate salespeople, but real estate sales businesses definitely have some degree of a foothold, but in working toward the next phase, which is traction, they tend to be a little bit hot and cold. And the ultimate objective is to get you into momentum. Now, what I've identified in terms of the prospecting methods that we have out there at the moment is that they are letting us down on the number of prospects that they yield. So we say the ability to be able to find a seller instantly and effortlessly is the most highly sought after commodity in the real estate industry. So what Sales Trainer is about is really creating the dissemination between what we refer to as an active seller or secondly, a dormant property owner. Now, too many of the traditional prospecting methods, unfortunately, attract the dormants in much the same way as they attract the actives. And let's face it, the only reason you would pay any attention to those dormant property owners who might be interested in getting an updated opinion of value or anything else associated with it would have to be because you just don't have enough actives. And in the List and Sell Tour this year, we are going to show you not only just how to focus or hone in on the active property sellers, those that are selling now, but more importantly, how to create some protocols and install some protocols so that you are able to locate today's property seller for an appointment for the next working day. So much so that you're able to do this on a daily basis, and on average, it should take you no more than 15 minutes. Because what we'd like to see you do is get to this point. Now, I received this text. Over the last 12 months, we've worked with Steve to get him to the point where he is in double figure listings. So much so, he now feels totally vindicated from this mirage of having a large database of contacts where he has now deleted the old fashioned contact database. Now, I'm not saying he's saying bye-bye to his established clients because in Sales Trainer's opinion, a database should only be populated by people you have done business with, not a list of people that you would like to do business with but haven't as yet. That is basically a contact database. And we want to free you up from that. We want you to be able to say, I don't need to pay attention to this because I know how to find a seller instantly and effortlessly in preparation for the next working day. So what we'll talk about at Sales Trainer is these 4 tests. And I ask you right now, whatever method you're employing, does it pass these tests? You know, how many prospects do you have to speak to before you've actually got a listing? Now, if that's any more than 10, then quite frankly, the source that you're using is inefficient. Let go of it. We can show you ways to make contact with a prospect that is listing their property now in less than 5 phone calls. What sort of quality is coming from that? If you list a property using that source, how many of them go on to be actual sales? You know, because some of the prospecting methods that we use, they do get us leads, they eventually do get us listings, but the quality of that motivation is not necessarily as high as it should be. How much does it cost? How much time, in particular, importantly, how much time? And then secondly, how much money has to be put into that source to make it work? And then finally, how easy is it? And I got to say this on behalf of all the salespeople right across Australia and New Zealand. Quite frankly, most of the prospecting methods in the traditional sense aren't easy. One finds themselves having to psych yourself up to engage in them. You're not going to see that with Sales Trainer. We are always looking for the straightest and most direct route to property sellers, not leads, not listings, but property sellers. Now, I must say this, at the List and Sell Tour this year, in most of the time that we are spending on this is actually built around the front end, the prospecting, because to my mind, if we can solve the prospecting dilemma for you permanently, if we can show you how to put yourself as an individual salesperson in front of a property seller, someone who is listing each and every day of your real estate career, then the problem is about 90%, the challenge, I should say, of real estate sales is about 90% solved. The next thing that you'll hear us talk about is what we refer to as the regenerative prospecting process. We'll sort out for you once and for all the message that is emanating about your company, how it actually transacts real estate sales, how it actually manages clients, and how your product is presented once and for all. And the whole purpose of that is for every sign that you have, we'll show you once you've got that foothold, which I referred to earlier on, how you then can leverage that into traction by focusing on the 5 sellers that are in gestation around that sign. Now, of course, there are many other properties that surround the signs that you have. And what we have to do is come up with protocols and methods in prospecting that attract these ones here, the sellers that are doing something without disturbing those property owners that are in dormancy. We're going to show you, as we say, how to extract the diamonds without disturbing the dirt. We'll also talk to you about welcome homes. Now, I've got to say that the open home is basically your virtual listing presentation. Now, I've seen several trainers, some of whom have been to Sales Trainer, that have grabbed this ball and run with it. It's not about coochie cooing. It's not about putting a bowl of lollies out there. And it's certainly not about giving them show bags to create some hype. It's about creating a virtual listing presentation, which is consistent with the 3 phases of what we hope for you to do with your product in your market. The first is that you are a consideration, that when any person that owns a property in the area considers selling, they at least make your company and you, if you're out there personally prospecting, a consideration, that you do get called in. The second is that you not only get called in, but they understand what's different about you in contrast against your competition, what you can offer that your competition perhaps can't. And then finally, to get to the point where people not only come to you because they understand the difference, they come to you because of that difference. And to me, one of the greatest conduits for you to promote that message is the new point of sale. And that, of course, is the welcome home. The other thing that we'll deal with is this social media question, which we've referred to as social mania. Now, Mark has not just talked about embracing or taking on the social media challenge, he's physically done it. He's actually expended the time, energy, and money to show you the results, the what to do and what not to do. And by his own admission, he's made some colossal mistakes. I have said openly in Sales Trainer that the return on investment for social media is not very strong. So far, we've talked about PRöSPECTOR and its installation. Now, all of the tools and equipment, all of the instruction, all of the guidance, everything that you need to put this into place is available through Sales Trainer Active. So Sales Trainer Live, the List and Sell Tour, is where we present the ideas to you, but certainly Sales Trainer Active is the implementation tool, and it takes many forms, not least of which is the biggest list, the number one tool for us to focus on a leveraging of your monthly listing averages. So what we do is we get you to give us all of the facts and figures, which takes about 5 minutes, and we now have a wonderful person on board that should you decide to opt in for the biggest lister, he will not only help you get those figures in, he will not only then read them back to you and set up a plan whereby we can leverage your monthly listing average, but he will take care of all of the back end work to ensure that we get your listing monthly averages up. I cannot begin to tell you how signing on for Sales Trainer Active, how committed we are to the people that jump on board with the List and Sell Tour and ensuring that their monthly listing averages go up. Because what we say at Sales Trainer Active is the moment that you hit double figure listings, your real estate career will turn permanently for the better. So this is our focus. And now this draws me to one of our people that's just come on board, and I'm going to ask him to just give us his take on it, Vasco Horta. So we've got here, mate, just a little brief accolade that you gave us back, and you said with your group certificate that you had a 40% increase in sales income. Now, would it be fair to say that that was to derive from us pushing all of your focus toward being totally consumed with the idea of listing first? We say that listing always comes before selling.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. I've scrapped every other, prospecting and working method that I implemented prior to meeting you. Others trainers' methods. Haven't had a database since I met you, probably 2 years ago, I guess, and purely working on the list and sell premise of list as many as you can get. Worry about the sales later.
You just simply cannot get into trouble in this business if your focus is listing more property. Would you agree with that, Vasco?
Absolutely. The old, I think you use it, would you prefer 20 overpriced listings or 5 well-priced listings? Well, you can always sell some of those overpriced listings at some point, if you, particularly with your reduced to sell program as well, which helps in that process. So, yeah, absolutely, always more listings.
In the course with Sales Trainer Active, you're also entitled to help and advise any salesperson that is focused on utilizing this, on coming to us if they have a listing or a sale, or they're halfway through a negotiation, or you can't get something across the line, or multiple offers on something, or having trouble getting a seller to come down to meet a buyer down below. All of these things are commonplace to us. And this is just one place where you can, in an instant, simply tell us how urgent it is, give us the category and in a bullet point form, and hit this little button, and you have immediate help and support online. And of course, there's Sales Trainer Active tools, loads of things. Call subject. We teach at Sales Trainer Active, you'll hear us say that you need to speak to your sellers every single day. Well, the question that usually comes back from a salesperson is, I don't know what to say to them each day. So we've actually got default call subjects with the literal dialogue that all you need to do is repeat it. It's generic. None of it relates to price, and it will enable you to speak to your sellers every day, building your recommendations and a host of other things. So there's a resource library that sits in the back there. Then, of course, there's Sales Trainer Active Dialogue. You tell us what words you're looking for any given subject, and we'll record it for you and for the other members to share on Sales Trainer. Then, of course, you'll see Property Marketer at the List and Sell Tour. Now, For some time now, Listing Pad, which is the listing presentation on iPad, has been hugely popular right throughout the real estate industry. We've now over 500 users on Listing Pad. And what Property Marketer does for you, it becomes your backup support mechanism for all of the props, all of the tools, and a whole host of other protocols that you might need on board. So things like when we talk in PRöSPECTOR, putting together the just listed cards and the open for inspection invitations, Property Marketer can do that for you. The market roundup, which solves this question that most people have. How's the market and what's my property worth? Those two questions are answered with the market roundup. Now, at Sales Trainer, if you decide not to be involved in Property Marketer, we still tell you how to put one of these together yourself. But when you see what we've got in store with Market Roundup TV, and this will be the conduit, the number one spot for property sellers right across Australia and New Zealand to come to do a couple of things, to get an answer to how the market is in their area, to get an answer to what their property might be worth, but importantly, we'll educate them on how to choose an agent under the right guise. And you'll be surprised to learn it won't involve discounting fees, and it certainly won't involve any concessions whatsoever to your marketing that you'll be asking them to invest in. Other things that we have on there. Now we've got the TOViEW, which is the individual property websites. Now, I heard just recently somebody say to me that this is a gimmick. Well, if you've ever had any aspirations to cut the chain, major portals, well, this represents that opportunity. This is the first step, not just in us bypassing the major portals to promote real estate, but also it's the first step in us becoming truly paperless inside the real estate transaction. Then, of course, there is Listing Pad. Now, Listing Pad is the front end or the tool that supports the ultimate listing presentation. We'll show you at the List and Sell Tour how most problems that occur inside of a real estate transaction typically emanate from the listing presentation. If you have a problem later on with selling the property because the owner has too high a price expectation, typically that would have commenced at the listing presentation where the listing was actually won on a price quote. If you have trouble getting it across the line because the owner wants a discount, it's probably because you entertained the idea of taking a concession at the listing presentation. We'll show you how to win a listing with a value-added presentation that will never render you in a position where you have to discount a fee, but more importantly, we'll show you how to win a listing without ever really becoming bogged down on the price that you quote. In fact, we'll show you how high price is really not on the agenda for most sellers. And then to glue it all together, behavior and mindset. If skill set is basically the day-to-day component of your real estate productivity and efficiency behavior, then mindset is certainly the fuel that drives you forward. So this is something else that we'll be sharing with you at the List and Sell Tour. So we've still got 2 dates to go. List and Sell Melbourne on the 2nd and 3rd of September. Those of you that are tuning in that have been to Sales Trainer, you can receive a 50% concession. Use the discount code ENCORE and you're entitled to come for half price. And List and Sell Adelaide on September 23 and 24. There's a whole heap more. You heard Vasco allude to the fact that we talk about managing price expectation and how to get those stuck listings back in price. Certainly there'll be some mind paid to that. We'll talk to you about a load of negotiation techniques that you use with buyers. But I must say, the major theme this year is listing, because listing always comes before selling. And we believe that if we can show you how to find a ready-made seller each and every day, and then show you how to run a presentation that not only has them choose you, but you win that listing on terms and conditions that are prosperous for you and the agency that you work in, then 90% of the real estate sales challenge will have been solved. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you at the List and Sell Tour in 2013. List and sell.
She's my little rock and roll.